Hey, what's up guys? I'm Rob Richards, and in the kitchen today I'll be talking about choosing the best post-workout supplementation. Everything you need to know from how much protein, what types of carbohydrates, how much, and when you should eat them. This is all filmed for supplementsworld.com, and as always you can find out more information in a full-blown article over on their website. Okay, so the first question here is, why is your post-workout nutrition that much different from your other meals throughout the day? It comes down to one simple thing: speed. You see, when you work out, we create these micro tears in the muscle fibers. I know that might not sound too desirable, but it is necessary if you're looking to build size, improve muscle strength, and get a little bit bigger. Think of it like this: your muscles are kind of like a bridge over water. Every time you work out, it's as though you're breaking down this bridge just a little bit. What happens when you finish your workout with proper nutrition and the right amount of rest and recovery, your body starts to rebuild this bridge, or in your case, the muscles. A little bit stronger, a little bit bigger than before. And if you keep this up, this is where you start to see an increase in muscle size and strength. Now, the actual term when it comes to weight training is protein breakdown. So there's three factors here. When you're in the gym, you're depleting muscle of its energy, glycogen. Almost as soon as you've left the gym, your body starts a process called protein breakdown. It starts breaking down all of the old protein fibers and waiting for nutrition coming in the form of food and supplementation through our blood vessels. Now, in order for that to happen, we need the right type of protein and carbohydrates at the right quantities. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Let's start things off with protein. Why have a protein shake as opposed to just waiting for a normal meal when you get back home, your chicken or eggs? Well, it really comes down to the bioavailability of that protein. This is referred to as BV, and you'll start to hear more of this when you consider different types of proteins and protein powders in particular. Now, eggs have a fantastic BV. They're actually the standard at 100, meaning all of the protein is available for the body. But through eating it, it takes time for our body to digest, break down those nutrients and absorb it, getting it into the bloodstream and to our muscles. This is where protein shakes really come in handy. Now, there's different types of protein. Really, this falls into three common types. You have protein concentrate, protein isolate, and a hydrolyzed protein. And all of these come down to how much they've been filtered and how quickly they can be digested, absorbed into your body. Now, there's another video that I've just filmed recently talking about different types of proteins. Check that out. You can find out more about the milk proteins, whey, casein, again, some of the more wider variety of plant-based proteins now. It's a really good video. Now, I've always grown up knowing that the rule of thumb is about 20 to 25 grams minimum protein that you need post-workout for it to be effective. However, a new study just last year showed that that's as much as 40 grams of protein. And bearing in mind that it's not necessarily based on the trainer's size. If you're small or if you're big, you need that much more protein. It's just 40 grams. 40 grams or about 2 scoops of protein is the most that you need. Any extra than that is really just going to a waste. And it's more about the intensity of the training, how hard you work and commit yourself during that session that will then basically qualify how much of that protein is going to be used up. So that's 30 to 40 grams of protein following your workout. I'll get on to carbohydrates in a second, but I just want to talk about the window of opportunity, that anabolic window that often we refer to as the time frame where your body is most primed for these nutrients following the gym workout. Let's talk about that for a second. What does this really mean? Well, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that when you're exercising, you're depleting your muscles of glycogen. You're also creating micro tears in the muscle fibers due to overloading them with weight. Now, those are both necessary things that we want. What we need to happen after that is to get the right quality of nutrition into our body, but also have it absorbed into the bloodstream quickly. Again, blood is the carrier system that takes those nutrients to our muscles, and it's how quickly we can get the right nutrients there that will really enable you to make the best of your training. So the anabolic window is anywhere from 1 to 2 hours time frame, almost immediately from leaving the gym. How I like to do my post-workout is have some fast-acting protein and carbohydrates in a liquid form that I have immediately following the gym, literally as I'm walking out the gym. Then about 40 minutes to an hour later, I'll eat a smaller meal. Therefore, my body's getting a nice steady stream of high quality protein, glycogen getting into the muscle, and then a more solid meal that I can digest and absorb at a slower rate. So I'm really optimizing that anabolic window within that time frame. So let's talk about carbohydrates now. I have a range of different carbohydrates here. Protein, relatively simple. Choose a good whey protein or a plant-based protein. Take 40 grams, 2 scoops, mix it with water, and you're done. With carbohydrates, there's still a lot of people on the fence, I find, as to how much carbohydrates, whether they should include carbohydrates, and what type. Well, we'll break that down now. Carbohydrates are nothing more than sugar, glucose, once they're broken down into the body. However, not all carbohydrate is created equal. So let's have a look at the different types of carbohydrate, and from there we can start to isolate and identify which carbohydrate and how much is best to go with your protein post-workout. Now we're going to start with the single sugar molecule carbohydrate, otherwise known as monosaccharide. Now there's two different categories. One, we have fructose, something like fruit, which you might think is a great pairing to go with our protein, but no, the fruit sugar, fructose, only has a GI rating of 25. That's the glycemic index, which really rates how much of that sugar, the carbohydrate, is broken down and absorbed by the body, and it's based on a 50-gram serving. So with banana, you're only going to get 25% of that 50 grams of sugar. That's not ideal. So fruit in general is not going to be your highest priority when it comes to post-workout carbs. The other type of monosaccharide that we have is glucose itself. Now, here you can see a sample of glucose. You can get a lot of these from your supplement or sports stores, and they're found in a lot of these sort of post-workout or intra energy drinks as well. Now, glucose ranks 100 on the glycemic index. So you've got 100 and then banana. Right, so these are our single sugar molecule, our monosaccharides. Let's have a look at the disaccharides, the 2 sugar molecules. And with this, we have 2 different forms. We have sucrose, otherwise known as good old-fashioned table sugar, which itself ranks 65 on the glycemic index. So better than fruit like a banana, although still not as high as dextrose itself. And milk as well. I know a lot of people think of milk as protein with some fats, but it also is pretty high in sugar, milk sugar, lactose, which is that double bonded sugar molecule. This ranks about 43 on the glycemic index, and as you'll find out towards the end of the video, really is not that ideal when it comes to fulfilling your protein or your sugar needs. So what is good? Well, we have the other end of the spectrum, which is more of the long chain, the complex carbohydrates. And for this, maltodextrin is probably our top source. Ranks a little bit higher on the glycemic index, in fact, even higher than our dextrose. And it doesn't require quite as long time for the gastric emptying, how quickly it gets from our gut into either the liver or directly into the bloodstream. So this is a higher glycemic index. And what most people do actually is combine the two, a 50-50 ratio of dextrose, maltodextrin. Therefore, you're going to get an immediate rush of glucose into the system, but not too high. It's going to be a nice steady increase. And the next question that we come on to is how much? We already know that we need about 40 grams of protein. So how much sugar, how much carbohydrates do we need in our post-workout shake? Well, the equation is pretty simple. If you look at one end of the scale being if you're focusing on getting lean, maybe shedding some body fat, it's about 0.25 per pound of lean body mass. I'll get to the workings out in a minute. If you consider getting bigger, you want to push more towards the end of the spectrum, it's about 0.5, so twice as much. 0.5 grams of whichever concoction carbohydrate you go for per pound of lean body mass. Now, to give you an example, let's take someone about my weight, 180 pounds, a typical body composition of about 16% body fat. And if we're looking to go towards the higher end of the spectrum, put on a little bit more lean muscle mass, that's going to be 0.5 times your lean body mass. Now, minus 16% gives you about 151 pounds of lean body mass. Multiply that by that equation, 0.5 times your lean body mass, you're looking at just over 75 grams of sugar, which for me is about a quarter of my daily carb intake, which is about right. The equation, however you look at it, always comes back to about 1/4 of your total carbohydrate intake for the day, focused just on your post-workout. And that pretty much wraps up the end of our protein and carbohydrate discussion on this video, how much and what type. I'd say a good lean 40 grams of protein powder, whether you get that from a hydrolyzed whey or a concoction of different plant proteins, combined with anywhere from 40 up to 70 or 80 grams of, and I'd say an even mixture of maltodextrin and dextrose to supply your body with the simple sugars it needs, but not too quickly. What that will do is affect your insulin level, and that actually helps as a shuttle, a carrier, to transport those amino acids into your muscles quicker. Before we end this video, there is one other thing that I'd like to add to this concoction of post-workout supplements, and that is branched chain amino acids, glutamine, and creatine. If your goal especially is to maximize your strength and improve upon your lean muscle mass, adding in some BCAAs to this mixture, anywhere from 5 to 7 grams, especially even a little bit extra leucine. You see, the amazing thing about branched chain amino acids is that they're metabolized in the muscle rather than the liver. So adding them into your post-workout shake and even sipping on them during your workout after the first 30 or 45 minutes, that's effectively fuel for those muscles. So BCAAs, especially leucine, also creatine, it helps with that strength gain, 5 to 10 grams, and also glutamine, about 3 to 5 grams in there as well. And there you have it, the perfect post-workout nutrition, 40 and 75 grams of protein and carbs, and then you have a smaller solid meal about an hour later once you get home. Give it a try, check out the full article, see everything I wrote about, including different sugar molecule types and the rate at which protein is absorbed over on my article at supplementsworld.com. If you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel, like, leave a comment, we'll get back and try and carry on some more of these questions over to next month's video, and I'll see you guys then. Take care, bye-bye.